everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with the FIA Manufacturers round number 8, the final round at Bathurst. This is the first race that we did 2 of the races. This was the first race of the day, top split obviously. Now we jumped on with very little preparation, obviously we didn't do any in the day before and jumped on pretty rusty, but managed to put not a particularly great, to be honest, qualifying lap in. It was a little bit scruffy. We missed the apex of one of the corner, I think it was turn 2, where the brake marker was missing, so we didn't really hook up the lap and we were starting quite far down in P13. You can see a lot of fast drivers in this lobby, obviously it would be in a top split lobby. In P9 there, Indian Food, TRL All was in the lobby, some very fast drivers, a lot of VLX drivers in this race as well. We didn't hook our lap up, as you can see there, we're just about to come to ourselves, but starting P13 we had the opportunity to try and make some ground up during the race. Obviously plenty of opportunities to overtake at Bathurst with the 2 long straights and the Aston Martin being a very fast car through the acceleration range. It should be able to do some overtaking at this track. You see GTA Matty starting from P14 and all the way through the grid. GT Alex there in P15, P16 TX3 Stefanzi, and all the way down through grid the Evo there of Cupertom in P17. Evo seems to be struggling round here. And P18 MR Heiser, P19 in the, I think that is the Toyota Supra, it's Hiragram, and in P20 starting right at the back of the grid there, Audigo 860. Never raced that guy before, I don't think anyway, but we're going to try and make our way through the grid now and see if we can pick up some positions in this race. Obviously this wasn't our top scoring round. The next round we actually did slightly better on the next race, sorry, race 2. But for this race I wanted to upload both of them. I wanted to upload both this race and the second race because this race was quite entertaining. I enjoyed this race, so I thought why not just share this race with you as well. Obviously if you want to check out the live stream, you can check out that live stream on the channel now. It did take a while for YouTube to finish processing it because it was a 5-hour stream. It took over 24 hours for them to finish processing it, so it's finally up on the channel now. And if you want to check out the whole stream, obviously it's on there, but I'm going to condense, obviously put the actual races, 2 races in Manufacturer, and we've got 1 in Nations to upload. So if you just want to check them out individually, the videos are here now. As you can see, starting from the race, we're going to go for we always going to go for a move down this left hand side, but Ercon went defensive on the left, so I went down the right, and then he just in the braking zone just tried to basically block us, which was a little bit too aggressive in my personal opinion. He'd already gone left, saw that I was going to go down left, blocked that, I went to the right, and then he just blocked off the braking zone down that right hand side, which was a little bit aggressive. However, going through this left hand corner, a little bit of karma kicks in as he puts the throttle on too much there, loses the rear, and we take that position and up into P12. So now we've made up 1 position, not even halfway through the lap. Now we're going to try and see if we can get through some of these other drivers up ahead and make our way into the top 10 if possible. We've got 2 VLX drivers up ahead. We've got the Hyundai in front of us, and just ahead of that we have the driver in the Subaru. So 2 cars that we should have a little bit of a straight line advantage over. However, we're not really going to be picking up a massive advantage because P11 there is going to pick up the slipstream down the straight, but we should be able to gain a little bit on both drivers, and all 3 cars will be very close by the time we get to the braking zone at the end of this very long straight now. So trying to get a nice solid exit from that corner, being careful not to hit the wall. We've got GTA Matty right behind us there, but we look like we've got a comfortable gap to GTA Matty that he's not going to be able to pick up a massive slipstream and go for a move. Obviously we're picking up the slipstream as well, so we're going to be able to make sure that there's no possibility to lose in a position. We're going to have a little look, see if we can gain a position. You can see how much we're gaining now at the end of the straight with the slipstream. We're going to brake nice and early there. We don't want to be braking late. Obviously picking up the slipstream, we're going into that corner 4-5 miles per hour extra speed, so we just braked a little bit early just to make sure we don't rear end the car in front and wipe out 2 cars in one instance. So trying to play it safe at the moment. Obviously very early in this race, we're only starting lap 2 now. We've got 8 more laps to go now, so trying to see if we can just pick up the opposition as and when we can, taking it nice and easy. There is an opportunity to get ourselves in the top 10 if we just play it cool. I was just aiming to take opportunities as and when they come as we go to pull out the slipstream, but realise we're not going to gain any ground, and actually misjudged slightly there, pulling back into the slipstream due to obviously the front end not knowing exactly where the front end of the car was, but we got away with that one. But going into the braking zone, we see a nice opportunity there. He brakes a little bit early, we brake a little bit late, we take the inside line, a really nice move there to put us up into P11, and now we've got another VLX driver in probably a slower car. The Hyundai's actually got a little bit more speed than the Subaru, so on a straight line, pure speed on a straight line, we should be able to get past this Subaru a little bit easier than what we did with the Hyundai there. You can see now as we go through the twisty section, the Subaru is probably a little bit stronger through these type of corners. This is where the Subaru's strength is at Bathurst compared to the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin tends to understeer a lot through these corners, but then on the straight line acceleration zones, the Aston Martin should be able to work its way past that Subaru that's in front of us at the moment. Obviously picking up dirty air as we go through them fast corners as well, and just trying to hang on in there. You can see we've actually got ourselves a car between ourselves and GTA Matty now, and trying to push on to see if we can get past this other VLX driver and give us some clean air to try and put some solid lap times in as we go through the final corner before that long straight. Picking up the slipstream, we got a really good exit there. We're going to go down the right hand side to go for the move. He squeezes us onto the grass a little bit there, didn't give us too much space, but we managed to get on that inside. It's just pretty simple out drag race that Subaru all the way down to the finish, to the fast chicane that's just about to approach now. You see as we go through the really fast right hand there, look how close them cars are, 4 or 5 cars very close together as we're now leading that battle. As there's a bit of contact behind, you see there 2 cars, contact there, 1 car went for the move on the inside and wiped out another car. I don't know exactly what happened there, but it looked quite an aggressive move. But now we're up into that extra position. Now we're into P11, and now we're very close at P10. You can see trying to break that slipstream a little bit, just so I can give myself a little bit of extra leeway up this straight, so we can't make a move going into turn 2 as we get a really solid exit off that corner. The Aston Martin was actually quite solid at getting a good solid speed out of that corner, which was actually handy in terms of defending, probably because of the gearing that the Aston Martin is set out. It was really good at picking up the acceleration from that corner, so it was actually quite a good car to defend into this corner. As you can see, the Subaru behind us just hasn't got that straight line speed to go for a move into turn 2, as we're now approaching another, I think that's a Supra in front of us, and BFR Devil there right in front of us as well, obviously battling away and possibly losing a bit of time as they're battling away. It looks like Devil's actually been overtaken by the Supra, driven by, I think that's Oscar, sorry, it's Indian Food. He's not an Oscar driver anymore. So now as we go through the top of the mountain, trying to keep it nice and solid through these really fast corners. I do love these replay cameras at Bathurst, so they look so good as you see right from the top of the mountain going downhill. Look how close this is still. You got GTA Matty there, just at the moment we're just keeping him a car behind, which is really good for ourselves as we work our way to the really long straight, and just trying to make sure that we give ourselves a good solid exit off this corner, because we didn't want them 2 cars picking up a slipstream all the way into the braking zone and making a move possibly. So now we can see there BFR Devil looks like he's picked up a penalty there, and that's going to help us out because we might just start picking up a slipstream. I think we're maybe not actually picking it up yet, but we're verging on picking up maybe a 10th or 2 behind as we come to the braking zone, and the cars behind are just not able to make a move. As Devil there, nearly another mistake there, losing the rear of the car and nearly putting it into the grass and spinning out, just about gets away with that. As you can see, we're actually in quite a good position at the moment. We seem to have reasonably good race pace, but obviously traffic is getting in the way a bit, as we're now going to pick up the slipstream off Devil. And are we going to be able to make a move on that? I think that's the FT1 in front of us. Obviously not the fastest car down the straights, but it's very good through the corners and obviously quite good on tyre, whereas we now pick up that slipstream, and you're going to see now the advantage the Aston Martin has on the straights when picking up the slipstream over the FT1. As we picking up that slipstream, he's going to go defensive down the right hand side. You can see goes to the right hand side to defend that line. We're going to try and go around the left hand side, but it's going to be extremely hard to hang it round the outside. Not really much space there. Had to back off and just get back on the throttle, because if we tried to hang that round the outside, I think we would have lost the position to the Subaru that's right behind us now. And again, going into the braking, trying to keep it smooth there. It seems like Devil seemed to be really struggling at this stage of the race. I'm not sure if he was on different tyres or what was going on. I wasn't sure at this point of the race. I thought at this stage he could have been on medium tyres and was going for a no stopper. However, I don't think that was the case as we work our way through the top of the mountain there. This is where the FT1 should be a little bit stronger, but that FT1 really looks like it's struggling. One thing about the FT1 is it does not like curbs, so maybe being very cautious on the curbs. As you can see how twitchy it is around the curbs. I wouldn't like to drive that at this track with how aggressive you have to be near the curbs and how much the curbs can just spin you out at any moment. But again, now are we going to be able to pick up that slipstream on this back straight and gain another position in this race. You can see there, if we can get into P9, that'd be a really solid start. We're in P10 at the moment, so in the top 10, so obviously from starting from P13. Not a bad first stint this race. Now, this was a decision: do I pit on this lap and try and get the undercutting drivers, or do I stay out and then have the fresher tyres towards the end? Obviously the Aston Martin is quite aggressive on its tyres. We're going to go for a move. Are we going to be able to make this move into this corner? No, a little bit too far back there. And now this is pretty much decided now at this point. Whatever the drivers in front of me do, I'm going to do the opposite. So most drivers obviously going to pit on lap 4 to get the undercut on the tyres, but 2 drivers straight in front of me go in the pit. So I decided I'm going to stay out now and try and see if we can extend this stint to a 5-lap stint and then give ourselves the better tyres at the end of the race. So you can see behind us the VLX driver obviously staying out as well in that Subaru. Maybe he's going to go for the same strategy, or he could be going for a no stopper. We'll see as we come through to the end of this lap whether he peels off into the pits like we do. As now the real important thing for this lap was obviously trying to keep it as smooth as possible and trying to make as little mistakes as possible as we go through the uphill section. Going through these corners, the car can get very loose obviously with the tyre wear, trying to keep it nice and smooth. I'm just trying to put a nice solid in-lap in now, because if we can come out fairly close to Devil, we might have an opportunity to get back past Devil when obviously we've got the better tyres. As you can see there, we had a little bit of a moment on the rears. The tyres are starting, you can see how twitchy the car's starting to get now at this stage. Obviously that rear right-hand tyre and the front right-hand tyre are becoming very worn. So we had to pit. There was no chance of doing a no-stop strategy. You can see on the tyre wear, if we would have done another 4 or 5, like pretty much halfway through this race, it would have been getting undrivable towards the end, and I think we would have lost far too much time if we tried that strategy. And the better strategy was for myself to just push and be aggressive and obviously have them fresh tyres and put the lap times in. As obviously we're in P4 at the moment, but we've obviously not pitted yet. A lot of the lead drivers have already pitted, so now it's just a case of seeing what we can do. As you can see there, all behind us gets took out there. There's some sort of incident. Maybe he's going to pick up a penalty for that, but I'm not sure what the Subaru was doing behind. I think the Subaru should have possibly have just let Org through. Org's on the fresh tyres. The Subaru's obviously not pitted yet. There's not really a proper fight going on there. There's no point battling with people that are on fresher tyres at this stage of the race. You're not going to hold them off. It's just not going to happen. As we now come through to the pit stop phase, you can see the cars behind all getting caught up in that traffic massively, and this is one of the reasons why it can sometimes not work for you when you pit early if you get caught in traffic like that. But we're going to try and get a nice solid pit entry. You can see there that VLX Nova in the Subaru decides not to go for the pit and tries to extend the stint, and he's obviously going for a no-stop strategy, which I think was very risky, especially in the Subaru. The Subaru is obviously quite harsh on the tyre wear, but it does tend to understeer more than anything, so maybe it was quite stable still through the corners, whereas the Aston Martin gets the understeer and then gets the oversteer as well with the power. So there was no way I was going to risk that. But just look at that, we've come out right behind Indie Food and Devil not too far up ahead now. But this was annoying. If we would have just got ahead of Indie Food, it would have been so much better. Obviously with the fresher tyres we would have more race pace, but we're going to try and see if we can get past him straight away. He's gone defensive. We're going to brake a little bit early and try and do the undercut on the right hand side, but not able to get that move done there as we work our way up there. You can see how close we are to Devil there. We didn't lose too much time. You can see going for that move, really trying to put Indie Food under pressure there and try and see if we can find the way past, but obviously very hard. At this point his tyres are still pretty good and we need to just try and be patient, but you know, we don't want to bin it into the wall and lose even more time. But I really wanted to get on with it and get past as soon as possible, because this is the point now. This outlap and the next lap need to be our fast laps where we gain time on other drivers, but at the moment we're getting a little bit held up. This is a section though where the Supra is really fast. The Supra at this track is one of the strongest cars, especially on this section. It's so fast as you go on the downhill section with the rotation of the car and then on the initial acceleration on the back straight. But you can see now, as we're getting a little bit held up, you can see the car behind us is actually starting to gain on us also a little bit here now. So we're going to have to be very careful that we try and get past Indie Food as quick as possible. You can see the initial acceleration there of that Supra is so fast out of the corners. We're still going to pick up the slipstream though just about as we go into the braking zone, and we're going to have to try and be patient with this because it's going to be really hard to get past that Supra until maybe later on in the race when his tyres are going to be a little bit more worn. Obviously he's extended this stint more than what we have, so we're going to have the fresher tyres towards the end of the race, and just trying to keep it nice and smooth now, stay in the slipstream just so that we've got an opportunity if it arises. You can see there's cars up ahead that look like they're on a no stop strategy. You look like they're struggling with tyre wear, so we're going to be able to keep pushing and probably be right on the tail of these cars that are in front of us as we get through to maybe the end of this lap or the start of next lap. As you can see, we're gaining on every corner there. We run a little bit wide there, which is a bit frustrating, because if we would have just nailed that corner, we would have picked up the slipstream, but we're still going to be able to pick up the slipstream. Indie Food goes with the trying to break the slipstream. We're going to go to the right hand side, however he's going to cover that off straight away, which is fair enough. He's allowed to go for the inside move, obviously, to defend into the corner, even though he has done the slipstream, trying to break the slipstream. You can still make your one move for defensive driving in the actual slipstream. Now, as we're going to try and stay as close as possible, you can see trying to just put him under a lot of pressure. As you can see there, as he gets on the pound, nearly loses the rear of that Supra. We gained a little bit of time on him there, and we're right close to the slipstream, but we're not going to be able to make a move through this section of the track at Bathurst. Obviously, as most people know, it's pretty much impossible to make any sort of overtaking on the hill, unless obviously someone hits the wall and you can dive up on the inside somewhere. But very close through the high downforce section now, so we're picking up a lot of understeer there and just trying to stay as close as possible, so when we get on the back straight we can again pick up that slipstream as we go on the downhill section. Now you can see very close racing between a group of cars. Now you can see we're closing up on that other battle with I think it's 2 or 3 cars in it, and we've got the driver behind us staying in that slipstream just about now as we work our way on the downhill section now, picking up that slipstream of the Indian Food there in the Supra, and now trying to see if we can make a move into the braking zone. Is he picking up the slipstream of the car in front? I think he's just about in the slipstream there, so he's going to be able to use that slipstream to defend again into the braking zone. You can see we're going to just take it easy and brake nice and early, making sure we're not going to risk anything. Having a little look on the inside there as we're trying to just see the other cars. We can see them battling, and we're going to try and go down the right hand side here because we can see the cars battling, but again we just tapped into the rear of Indie Food there, but he's going to go for a very dangerous move. We're going to brake nice and early because we could just see chaos happening, and as I predicted there, it just ended in disaster. So we take the inside line and actually managed to come out of that corner into P9 and gain 3 positions in one little stretch of road. So some clever driving there, just held back. I could see that something was going to happen. I think we said it on live stream as well, that we could see that there was going to be some sort of incident at that corner, and as you can tell there, it just ended in disaster. We end up picking up 3 positions, and now we've got BFR Devil in front of us on them slightly older tyres, so he's going to be struggling a little bit more. Obviously all that traffic there cost us a little bit of time in terms of gaining on Devil, as Org is in front of us, so he's obviously has some sort of issue as well, maybe picking up another penalty somewhere on the track because he's lost a massive amount of time. He was right at the front of the track, the pack. I think he was in the lead or pretty much in P2. I don't know what's happened there, but he's obviously come into some sort of collision or crash or spun the car and picked up a penalty somewhere. But look how close we're getting to Devil now, obviously, as we've still got another lap to go. So with the extra 1 tyres that he's got there, we might be able to make a move somewhere, as we're going to pick up that slipstream again as soon as possible as we work our way on the downhill section. He's just outside that slipstream range at the moment, but we're going to be picking up very soon. But he did actually pick up a penalty on that corner, he just cut the corner a little bit too much, and he actually picked up, I think it was half a second or a 1 second penalty, and now we go on to the final straight before the final lap, and he's going to have to serve that penalty now, and that's going to give us the opportunity to go on the right hand side and get past him there and put ourselves up into P8. You can see there he's took that penalty, and it's such a costly penalty at that position of the track because you just lose so much time on the straight because it slams your brakes on and then you've got to get back on the power. You actually, for a 1 second penalty, you're probably going to lose 3 or 4 seconds just through that the positioning of the penalty zone. But now we're behind TRL Org, not really worrying about trying to catch up with Org. Org's one of the fastest drivers at Bathurst, so there was no real worry in my mind about trying to actually make any sort of moves on Org, although I didn't know whether he was on a no sub strategy, but then I remembered that he had actually, when we came out, I think it was when we come out the pits or when we got on our in lap, he was behind us and he had an issue with a car, so I think he might have picked up a penalty at that point, unless he's obviously had a penalty and another issue in terms of spinning the car somewhere. But in P8 at the moment, so far done very well in this race from P13, and we've got another car up at front that looks like he's struggling with some sort of tyre wear issues or what. You can see in P7 in the BMW is SRC SVDR, whatever his name is, Obviously struggling as well. He's on a no-stop strategy. He did try that strategy, I think, in an open lobby that we did when we on the 2 days before this race, and he thought it was faster, although I wasn't convinced. I was pretty convinced that the one-stop, I think the no-stop would have possibly equal type of speed if you nailed it every lap. But for me, it was a safer option just to pit and just try and work your way through any traffic, as now we've got so much more grip than that BMW in front of us, and it's looking like we're going to be able to pick up P7 in this race as we go onto the downhill section. You can see how much more grip we've got. We're just taking it nice and easy and just trying to make sure that we hook up the corners and get on the power nice and early for that final straight. That's where we're going to be able to make the move. So you can see now, just trying to keep it nice and smooth through it, make sure we don't make a mistake, and then down into second gear and try and get a nice solid exit. However, he actually brakes a bit on the apex, which he's perfectly entitled to do. But we're going to pick up that slipstream now. You can see, I think he actually puts his indicators on now just to say go down the right hand side. So we're going to go down that right hand side. We've got much more speed in the Aston Martin than he has. We just put our hazards on just to say thank you as we go past him. So on the final lap, we managed to get into P7, and quite a good race so far. You can see picking up 6 positions so far in the race, from P13 up into P7. And reasonably happy with that, and just look how close the other drivers were in front of us. I think some of these were no stopping as well. We've managed, I think without a few incidents in traffic, we might have been able to battle for P4 there, you can see. So the race pace was 100% there, and that's why we decided to race again. We picked up about, I think it was just under 2k points for this race and finishing P7, but I knew there was more potential to pick up on quite a big haul of points in this race. So we decided to race it again, which we will upload over the next few days, probably either tomorrow or the day after. We're going to upload the next race, which was a very nice race for ourselves. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Like I say, we'll upload the second race over the next few days. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed that race. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and hit that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks again for watching, everyone.